Are you a kid now, or are you a squid now? Whatever the case may be, Splatoon 3 welcomes players to cover each other and their terrain with many different bright colors of ink. Whether you're duking it out with kids and squids all over the world in online play, or you're solving puzzles in the game's single-player story mode, Splatoon 3 offers a wide variety of modes for players to have fun with at their own leisure. It also excels at creating a wide variety of entertaining characters to bring the colorful town of Splatsville to life, whether they be new characters introduced into the trilogy, or a returning one that's been around since the Wii U. But which of these characters stand out as the most moral, and which ones have their hearts covered in toxic ink? I'm Kyle with 1UP Binge, and this is Splatoon 3 characters, good to evil. Before we spray our way into our list, let's establish some ground rules. First, we're looking at the actions of the characters pertaining to Splatoon 3 specifically. If it's a returning character from Splatoon 1 or 2, we may take into account some of their actions, but mostly we'll be looking at their roles and morality pertaining to what happens in Splatoon 3. Secondly, we'll mostly be overlooking bosses who don't have much of a personality or function, other than being fought by the player. This includes most of the boss Salmonids from the Salmon Run Next Wave portion of the game, but we will be talking about final bosses and bosses with much clearer motivation. With all that established, let's break out our paintbrushes and color in our list, starting with the most good character and working our way down to the most evil. The elderly damsel in distress, Captain Craig Cuttlefish, is granted the gold medal of good. Once the leader of the Squidbeak Splatoon division, Captain Cuttlefish has since retired and is looking to pass his torch over to Agent 3. He served as the main character's mentor throughout the first Splatoon game, and reprises his role at the beginning of Splatoon 3, before being captured. Throughout the rest of the single-player mode, Agent 3 must work to rescue Captain Cuttlefish from the clutches of Mr. Giz. Much like his appearances in the previous Splatoon games, he's portrayed as caring, helpful, and very passionate at achieving his goals. Even after nearly dying at the end of the game, he immediately springs back to life and assists the player by giving advice on how to take down the final boss. Captain Cuttlefish may be an odd one, but his lovable personality traits make us want to jump down into our sewers and give him a visit. But first, today's video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN will give you a ton of benefits and protections that you need to have as an online gamer. Let me tell you about some of them. First off, you can play online from any region. So if you have friends from other countries, you can switch it up to a better server. You can also get new releases earlier if a game comes out in another region sooner. Did you know that some internet service providers throttle your bandwidth? Oftentimes if you reach a data cap from gaming for more than a few hours a day. Atlas VPN can encrypt your data and make it way more difficult for your ISP to do this. As far as safety goes, Atlas VPN can keep you safe while on public Wi-Fi, as well as protect you from DDoS attacks and even swatting, all by hiding your IP address. And you can also get around IP bans. On top of all that, you can even unlock region-restricted content on streaming services like Netflix. Rick and Morty isn't available on Netflix here in the US, but when I use Atlas VPN to change my server to another country, it instantly becomes available. And here's the best part. Atlas VPN is running a huge discount. You can get a 3-year subscription to Atlas VPN for just $199 a month, with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a limited-time offer, so make sure you jump on the deal by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you, Atlas VPN, for sponsoring us today, helping us unlock more content online, and keeping our data safe. Now let's get back to the video. The silver medal of good has to go to the protagonist of Splatoon 3, Agent 3. Not to be confused with the Agent 3 from the original Splatoon. Agent 3 in Splatoon 3 is the newest Inkling, or Octoling, to take the position over after the previous Agent 3 was promoted to the status of Captain. Since Agent 3 is the player's own customizable avatar, the identity of Agent 3 is completely up to the character. This includes Agent 3's eye color, skin color, hair, and style. Initially a scrap hunter before being recruited into the new Squidbeak Splatoon, Agent 3 is a determined warrior who fights to take down the Octarians and rescue Captain Cuttlefish. Agent 3 is this game's silent protagonist, so they don't have too much in terms of personality for us to extrapolate for our ranking. That said, we can at least say that Agent 3 is a determined member of the new Squidbeak Splatoon, who will do their best to fight for their noble cause and save those in danger. Right before Agent 3, we find their long-term partner, Little Buddy, nabbing the bronze medal of good. A member of the small fry subspecies of Salmonids, Little Buddy serves as both a character and as a weapon to be used at Agent 3's will. In the single-player story mode of Splatoon 3, Agent 3 can toss Little Buddy around in order for the small fry to perform various tasks. This includes attacking enemies, breaking crates, digging up loot anchors, removing fuzzballs, and more. On top of all that, Little Buddy is useful due to its experience as a scrap hunter, and can hunt out hidden loot anchors not visible to Agent 3 on the map. Much like Agent 3, Little Buddy is a silent deuteragonist and expresses itself more through its actions rather than its words. One thing that we can say is that Little Buddy shows a great amount of loyalty, always staying by Agent 3's side, to help out the Inkling/Octoling at every turn. The bond these two share is actually quite sweet and enough to land Little Buddy in a very high ranking in our morality spectrum. Staying fresh in our next spot is Callie, also known by her codename Agent 1. Once a host of the Inkopolis News along with Marie, Callie is also a member of the new Squidbeak platoon, working under Captain Cuttlefish to take down the Octarians. In both cases, she does her best to help those around her. She guides Agent 3 throughout the story mode of Splatoon 3, taking over the role of Captain Cuttlefish from the previous games. As a newscaster, Callie was very informative at keeping the citizens of Inkopolis up to date with new trends and current events. While she and Marie often are seen together and performing similar goals, we're giving her an edge over her co-hosts due to her more positive attitude and generally peppy demeanor. Speaking of which, next up we have the other half of the Squid Sisters, Marie, also known as Agent 2. The other former newscaster of the Inkopolis News, Marie, much like her co-host Callie, is very passionate about keeping the citizens of Inkopolis up to date about current trends and events. Marie is equally as passionate about helping Agent 3 rescue Captain Cuttlefish in the story mode of the game. Callie and Marie are often driven by the same goals and are rarely seen apart, hence their similar ranking. The reason Marie ranks just a little lower than Callie is that she can sometimes be portrayed as lazy and sarcastic, in contrast to Callie's more upbeat attitude. Attitude issues aside, Marie has a good heart and is very committed to her goals, so we definitely think she ranks among the moral characters on our countdown. Landing in our next spot is Marina Ida, one half of the pop duo formerly known as Off the Hook. Marina appears in Splatoon 3 alongside her partner to recruit members for their new band, Damp Socks, featuring Off the Hook. Marina is one of the more reserved characters in the Splatoon series. She's shy, timid, and kind of awkward. Not the personality one normally associates with a pop idol. She's also shown to be quite warm and sweet, even if her sassy side can emerge from time to time. She's shown to have some deep-rooted insecurities due to her past and is often scared to reveal her true colors, even to her fellow bandmates. Her less confident attributes aside, Marina is seen to have a bigger heart than we would expect from someone who could have easily let her fame and ego go to her head. Rounding out our good section, we get to the other co-founder of Off the Hook, Pearl Hozuki. We commented earlier about how Marina was very shy and reserved by the standards of a pop idol. Pearl more than contrasts that with her boisterous personality. Pearl is vulgar, loud, and blunt, often acting more like a rapper than a pop artist. She's also known to be extremely excitable and energetic. Marina and Pearl are a perfect yin and yang duo as their personalities often offset each other perfectly. In fact, Pearl's relationship with Marina is what firmly lands her a position in the good category as opposed to the gray section. Pearl is very protective and loyal to Marina, always staying by her side through thick and thin. Marina and Pearl don't exactly have the most prominent roles in Splatoon 3, but their presence is more than welcome among the game's roster. Now that we've inked out our good characters, let's get to our gray area. These are the characters who could be seen as either helpful or harmful depending on the situation. At the top of the gray area, we have the highest ranking member of the band known as Deep Cut, that being Big Man. Deep Cut are famous among residents of Splatsville for taking over the role of newscasters after the Squid Sisters left their position. Big Man is the rapper of the group and is known for his enthusiasm and lighthearted attitude. He often jokes around with his other bandmates and encourages them to reach their goals, showing he can be very selfless as a friend. Unlike many other characters who are competitive and trigger-happy, Big Man is reluctant to fight and would prefer a peaceful solution. However, that doesn't stop him from putting up a fight with Agent 3 when he needs to in the game's story mode. This plays into one of Big Man's less favorable character traits, and the reason why he lands in the gray area, his greed. He often raps about his love for money and joins the other Deep Cut members as they attempt to steal treasure from Agent 3. Even though the band members state they do this to give money to the less fortunate, Big Mouth's obsession with cash and his lyrics make us think otherwise. Still, we will say that Big Man is not a bad man, especially demonstrated when he helps Agent 3's cause later in the game. Right below Big Man, we have his bandmate, Fry. Being another member of Deep Cut, Fry has a lot of similar positive and negative qualities as Big Man. On the plus side, Fry is jovial and lighthearted, maybe even more so than Big Man. She loves to dance and is very excitable, often singing and dancing randomly just for the fun of it. On the other hand, she's also another character driven by money to an unhealthy degree. On top of this, Fry is much more aggressive than Big Man and holds no qualms with having to fight to get what she wants. Fry also has a big ego and really loves the fame that being a newscaster brings her. Much like Big Man, she does show an arc throughout the game's story mode, and winds up helping Agent 3 on their mission once realizing the severity of their situation. This does redeem her quite a bit, if not completely, from her less favorable characteristics. Finally, we reach the lowest ranking member of Deep Cut, Shiver. Much like Fry and Big Man, Shiver is an enemy of Agent 3 to deal with throughout much of the game until eventually switching sides close to the end of the story. Shiver does seem to demonstrate a few less favorable traits than her bandmates, however. Whereas Big Man and Fry are generally pretty peppy and happy, Shiver is much more stoic and mysterious. When she does open her mouth, Shiver has a tendency to be quite condescending towards the other members of Deep Cut, often openly berating them when they're live on air. She's also the most competitive and sneaky of her bandmates, and likely the one who leads them on their quest for stealing treasure. At any rate, Shiver does go through the same arc as the other Deep Cut members in story mode, and for that we can say that this trio definitely leans closer to the good category than the bad or evil. But rounding out our gray area, we have a character who we're surprised didn't make it into our bad or evil section, that being DJ Octavio. The leader of the Octarians, DJ Octavio was the main antagonist of the first two Splatoon games, where he stole the Great Zapfish to take power away from the Inklings. In Splatoon 3, however, his role differs greatly from Splatoon 1 and 2. While initially appearing as the first boss in story mode, DJ Octavio surprisingly didn't steal the Great Zapfish, and was only fighting out of self-defense. After being ambushed by the Fuzzy Ooze spreading throughout the land, he remains absent for the majority of the game. When he does return, DJ Octavio actually goes out of his way to help Agent 3 to fight the final boss and save Earth from the Fuzzy Ooze that's spreading. This, oddly enough, turns DJ Octavio into an anti-hero, in contrast to his previous villain roles. If we were ranking him based on his roles on the Splatoon trilogy as a whole, then we would put him into the bad and evil category for sure. His good deeds in Splatoon 3 are just enough to land him in the gray section. And now that we wrap up the gray area, it's time to finish off with the bad and evil. And in the case of Splatoon 3, there's only one character we feel truly belongs in this category. The gold medal of evil would easily have to go to Mr. Grizz. Originally appearing in Splatoon 2, Mr. Grizz dons a much bigger role in Splatoon 3, where he appears as the main antagonist of story mode. After stealing the Great Zapfish, Mr. Grizz sets out on a plot to cover Earth in Fuzzy Ooze. He is quite ruthless, capturing and nearly killing Cap and Cuttlefish on top of putting the lives of many Earthlings at risk in order to convert the Inklings and Octolings into being his minions. Mr. Grizz may look like a cuddly, albeit creepy, teddy bear, but underneath the surface of his fluff lies a character with a strong lust for power and control, possibly even more so than DJ Octavio was in previous games. Speaking of which, you know a character has gone too far when their actions cause Cap and Cuttlefish and DJ Octavio to put their differences aside and work towards a common goal. We're not sure if Mr. Grizz will be the antagonist in Splatoon 4, but something tells us that we haven't seen the last of this giant furry monstrosity. And that concludes our morality spectrum, so let's wrap things up by awarding some Sinner medals to the residents of Splatsville. The Pride Medal is awarded to Shiver. Given how condescending she is to her fellow bandmates and newscasters in this game, she clearly thinks very highly of herself. The Gluttony Medal easily goes to Little Buddy. When cleaning up all the Fuzzy Ooze, Little Buddy chooses the option of eating the giant fuzzballs, but we're glad Small Fry has a big appetite. The Sloth Medal is awarded to the Squid Sisters, Callie and Maria. Unlike Agent 3 and Little Buddy, the Squid Sisters stand idly by, while the other heroes around them do most of the heavy lifting. The Envy Medal goes to DJ Octavio. who is always the one to capture the Great Zapfish, so the fact that Mr. Grizz got a hold of it this time around likely fills the DJ with much rage and envy. For that reason, we're also awarding DJ Octavia with the Wrath Medal. The fact that he's willing to work with Captain Cuttlefish near the end of the story further cements how much Mr. Grizz got under his skin. The Greed Medal is being given to Big Man. While all three members of Deep Cut are responsible for hunting for treasure, Big Man stands out even more for rapping about how much he loves making money. The Lust Medal is awarded to Mr. Grizz. His lust for power, which leads him to covering Earth in fuzzy ooze, ends up being the main threat which the heroes have to overcome on this adventure. But let us know in the comment section what you thought of Splatoon 3, and who was your favorite character. And if you need a 1-up, make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our other Good to Evil videos, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite games. Thanks for watching.